Inanna returns. Chapter 17. Descent. I went to my friends Matali and Tara and told them that I desired to return to the old serpent woman. Tara led me to her caverns. The old serpent woman did not seem surprised to see me, and though she spoke no words, I understood that I must go alone on a journey. The wise lady led me down a long, dark tunnel, and at its end I saw a transparent oval like a wound surrounded by a translucent shell of soft, flowing light. I stepped inside and sat down for what seemed like an eternity. Nothing happened. I began to perform austerities, disciplines to raise my frequencies through focus. I breathed, I created tapas, divine heat. I fasted, I stood motionless on one toe for 2,000 years. I prostrated myself. I wept. My soul poured itself out into the oval as silence pressed itself on me. Yet nothing happened. I looked at my life as Inanna. Everything I had ever been or done moved across the eye of my mind. The longing for truth and understanding overwhelmed my very being, and my lovely body heaved and shook in sobbing and despair. At last, I gave up despair and lost myself in the heart of fire as I sacrificed my pride and no longer knew who I was. The I of Inanna faded away as all identity fell from my being like the tears from my eyes. A light began to form in front of me. Slowly this light formed into the most exquisitely beautiful being I had ever seen. It was neither man nor woman, but its form was human. It was made up of a myriad of tiny lights shooting, moving constantly in ever-changing colors. The face was a face of 1,000 beings, and it radiated all I could hope to be. Love, grace, wisdom, and qualities that have no words to describe them. "What is your name?" I asked. Answering me, the being spoke thus: "I have many names from a multitude of experiences and states of being, but my true spirit within my soul resides is only a light frequency, not a name. I am that which cannot be named. If you seek to name me, say I am Altair from Alcyone, star from star. I am that which have always been." Your longing for truth has brought me here. These are the moments of your awakening. Treasure them. Unfoldment is taking place now within this timescape. You are a response system. I interface with you. I have been aligning your circuitry for better reception, attuned to me. Remember, beloved, remember your true home. When time began for you, you were a pure white light. Now you have many colors, many nuisances, many experiences. You float through a sea of timelessness, pulsating beauty. I love you greatly. I felt myself or my body being caressed by a soft, gentle breeze. The immense love of this being wrapped itself around me, healing me and drying my tears. I felt lighter, and the waves of sheer joy ran through me. The being spoke again. "I love you, Inanna. I never judged you. I rejoiced at your accomplishments, at your courage. I wept when you wept. I sought wisdom in your beauty. I held you in your darkest hours. I was never separate from you. I allowed you to move in the ways you chose in order to bring me experience. Would any being do less for its child, its creation? In the sweetness of our coming together, I open myself to you. I hasten to you to feel myself in you and of you. You are my creation, and I have longed for your return. Not demanding, you turn to me gently as the flowers flowing or following the sun. Your being creates a space for me to fill. Oh, my beloved, united are we from all the pathways and trails through the long and lonely corridors of time, as the streams of the earth, as the blood flowing in your veins. We meet in the heart, there to burn in the fires of our becoming. It was so. I was on fire. My entire being was burning with love, and I experienced an ecstasy I had never before imagined. In silence, the being conveyed to me, to my mind, an understanding. Love welled up inside me with an undescribable force of passion. In my heart, I knew what I would do. The heart of fire forever changed me. I saw my future. I would descend into human form, become human, and attempt to activate the divine gene in my cells. I would separate myself in varying portions and take my incarnations. I would dare to make myself vulnerable and be born into human flesh. I chose a wide variety of experiences through particular bloodlines. Even though I would descend into earth time, I knew this being of light would always be with me, and I would never be truly alone again. Now, at first I admit I was a little reticent about actually getting into human flesh. I knew exactly what had been done to human DNA and how difficult it would be to remember who I was once in, but I was determined. I decided and began slowly. In the Himalayan mountains, there lived a group of humans who had banded together in search of wisdom. By praying and meditating, they hoped for a vision that might bring them truth. As an experiment, I generated holographic images of myself, slightly modified, and I appeared to them, wearing white robes. I surrounded myself with a modest amount of light and focused on the thought of love shown to me by the great being in the oval. I pictured a column of light coming from the oval, flowing through me onto the mountains and into the hearts and minds of these seekers. Their innocence and gratitude caused me to love them, and the more I loved, the more solid I became. I was a little afraid, but I could not help loving them. Their joy was a sweetness I had never known. As my physical density increased, I knew that soon I might forget, that I might not remember who I was or why I had come here. I thought of all the others I would become. The force of my loving and the compassion set into motion 100 lives. As I, Inanna, disguised as a Lula, descended into Terra to experience all the limitations of flesh and blood. I had hoped to find this task an easy one, an adventure. After all, I was Inanna and was from different time frequency, and I used the time traveling. How difficult could it be? My optimism was, however, misplaced. The density of Terra's vibrational frequencies combined with a body whose deactivated DNA allowed 1/10 of his brain to function left me overwhelmed by the five senses, and confusion and fear repetitively set in. In lifetime after lifetime, Marduk's brainwashing techniques, propaganda, and frequency control proved too much for me. The current belief system would simply overwhelm me, and I became lost. As a man, I chose the life of a priest in Atlantis. I was keeper of the sacred crystals. I fell in love with a holy virgin, defiled her, and was executed by my peers. In ancient Ireland, I became a powerful warrior. Wielding my axe, I chopped off the heads of 1,000 men and stacked them in front of my castle as a display of my wealth. Indulging in drink, I beat my wife. Persuading my son to slit my throat as I slept, my wife and my brother stole my life and my wealth. In Egypt, I became the librarian of the great store of scrolls and clay tablets at Alexandria. Fearful of all feeling, I lived alone amongst the written word, a rigid and lonely old man. I died in the great fire when Roman soldiers burned down the library. As a woman, I became a dancer in Kashmir to honor my friend Tara, an orphan who danced her way into the palace. I determined to educate myself by learning language and architecture. I was much admired by men, but the women in the harem despised me and soon poisoned me. In Western America, I became an Indian girl riding ponies and hunting on the plains. My name was Sky Maiden, and communing with the stars, I blessed Earth with the energies of the heavens. In love with a handsome, brave flame feather, I died in childbirth, tied to the floor of my teepee by a superstitious medicine man. In Spain, I became a lovely young Jewish girl, thrown in prison during the Inquisition. I was tortured and burned alive at the stake. Before I died, beautiful angels came to me to release me from my body and the pain. I became many. I experienced life as a man and as a woman. I walked the same roads humans have walked. I felt what they felt, the same hope and despair. I held a child in my arms. I was a child with no mother. I slaughtered many men and loved many. I wondered bitterly, what did it matter? What did anything matter? Praying for help, I sat on the cold ground and gazed longingly up at the stars. I tried to remember.